With no prior food, business, marketing, or advertising experience, Mandy and Rebecca Wolfe took a chance as entrepreneurs in the competitive restaurant industry. Mandy came up with an original menu, while Rebecca designed the interior of the restaurant. They crossed their fingers and opened the doors. Against all odds, it worked. The sisters could hardly keep up with the demand of their gourmet salads as word caught on. And the Mandy's Gourmet Salads restaurant was the talk of the town. Mandy now has 8 locations in Montreal, a best-selling cookbook, and more restaurants on the way, locally and internationally. A meal is only as delicious as its essential ingredients are. A contradiction in flavors, textures, and the freshest ingredients. That is what a Mandy's Gourmet Salads experience is. It's also the story of 2 sisters and a shared love of good food.
Hi everybody, we're in our kitchen, my home kitchen, and I'm going to be showing you how to make a brown rice tofu teriyaki bowl with ingredients that you probably have on hand in your homes, in your pantries, maybe in your fridge. And the ingredients that I'm using aren't necessarily the ones that you have to use, but they're ones that I have on hand today, but it's very flexible. You can do it with all kinds of different veggies. You can even use another source of protein if you prefer, like a salmon or a chicken or a beef. It's really up to you, but today's recipe is pretty much strictly vegan. So the base of our bowls are going to be lettuce. I had some organic spring greens and some baby green like gem lettuce that I just separated and put into bowls. Short brown rice. So we're going to get that going because that takes the most time. It's about 45 minutes to cook. Half a block, roughly 225 grams, around 200 grams of tofu is what you're going to need. And the sauce that we're making is a teriyaki sauce, and it's got a little bit of kick to it, which you'll see from the chilies. And there's a sweetness to it that's going to come from some organic agave. Again, you can use honey if you're not strictly vegan. You can also use maple syrup. We've got our soy sauce, rice vinegar, sesame oil, garlic. This is actually some cornstarch, which will help thicken up the sauce, which is important in a nice gooey, sticky teriyaki. And then when we're done, we're gonna just use some of these vegetables that have been chopped up. You can chop up your carrots with a cheese box grater. It works great. Cabbage, you can use a chef's knife if you're feeling comfortable. If not, you can use a mandolin. It doesn't have to be that thin. I like it thin like that. Broccoli is one of my favorite veggies, and cilantro I also love as a fresh herb, and same with fresh basil. And then we've got some beautiful sesame seeds to top it all off. We've got our rice. It's about 1 3/4 cup of water to 1 cup of rice. We've got our brick of tofu diced up. I'm gonna put the rice on with a little pinch of salt in there, and we'll get going with the marinade. Our rice is cooking, and we're gonna get to making the sticky tofu teriyaki marinade, which will also serve as part of the dressing for the salad. 1 crushed garlic clove, 1/4 cup of Kikkoman low sodium or less sodium soy sauce. We're also gonna take 2 tablespoons, I don't know how people do this without a film crew, 2 tablespoons of agave, a tablespoon of rice vinegar, just adds a little bit of a pop to it. If you don't have rice vinegar, you can use lime juice or lemon juice. It's not a problem. They both kind of serve the same flavor profile. Toasted sesame oil, a teaspoon of cornstarch. You can use another kind of starch if you're not a fan of the cornstarch. And what you want to do is you want to whisk it all together. Last but not least is I have 1 teaspoon of red chili flakes for heat. It's totally optional. The tofu has gone into a big mixing bowl. So if you are a not spazzy, but maybe a bit of a messy chef like I am, and I'm also wearing white pants. Oopsies. You want to leave yourself enough room to mix it up. One of the great things about tofu is that it is kind of flavorless. So whatever you put it in will just be a sponge for all that flavor. So You'll see when you make this yourself, it smells amazing. You can also add some freshly grated ginger in here. Rice is done. It's got that sort of fluffy, if you're a big fan of farro, it has that chewiness to it, which I love in a brown rice. It's one of my favorite kinds of rice. So let's pop that tofu in the oven and we're gonna roast it for about 10 to 12 minutes. One of the things I love about a rice bowl is that you can serve the rice warm and it kind of wilts the lettuce. So if you have spinach or even kale, something that can stand up to the heat is a great idea. But don't be shy if you have arugula or like I have in my house right now, some organic spring greens. They work just as fine too. And then you can kind of choose your mouthful if you want cold with a little bit of warm from the rice, and the tofu straight out of the oven is delicious as well. So we're gonna put it all together as soon as the tofu is done. I'm gonna start plating the bowls. So we've got our lettuce, which I've kind of pushed to one side. The rice is nice and fluffy and cooked, and we've got our cabbage, carrots, broccoli, cilantro, avocado, and I've just sliced a perfectly ripe Hass avocado down the middle. I'm gonna quarter it, dice it up, and add it to the top of our bowls while we wait for the tofu to be ready. I'm gonna add some rice on the side here. Depending on how carby you're feeling, you can add up or reduce a little bit. Our cabbage, some carrots, crunchy broccoli. Our tofu is out of the oven. It smells fabulous. It's got a lovely sheen to it. We're gonna spoon it with all those juices right over the rice. And I've also washed and cut some cilantro leaves, including the stems. The stems are one of the most flavorful parts of the herb. So if you love cilantro, don't be shy about putting the stems in. I've also got some fresh basil and a lovely touch for not just how beautiful it looks, but the sesame just brings out the toasted sesame oil in the tofu marinade. And fresh lime, we're gonna squeeze that over. Also love using some of our toasted sesame oil from before. You could drizzle some of that over. And you'll see that there will be some teriyaki sauce left over. So what I like to do is just pour that over everything because all those flavors make one hell of a good salad dressing. And there you have it. Brown rice, veggie, tofu teriyaki bowls. Lots of different ways to make this. This recipe will be featured in our second cookbook, which is coming out next fall. Very excited. It's going to be our tofu teriyaki salad, and we're so happy to share it with you. Hope you enjoy. Even if you're not vegan, give this a shot. It's so filling. It's so flavorful. Thanks for watching. Happy you tuned in. There they are. I'm going to dig in right now. Bon appétit. Bye.